Today, boys and girls, we're going to talk about Ming Vases. They're well known internationally for their sophisticated design, yet simple, beautiful decorations. They originated in the 15th century in China, when the country was ruled by the powerful Ming dynasty, and made from the finest porcelain. To start this project, you will need a piece of paper, a small rectangle, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the paper become our vase. So we're going to do that by folding the paper in half, because Ming vases are very symmetrical. So we want both sides to be the same. And to do that, we're going to fold our paper, and we're going to draw on the crease. So at the top of your paper, you will start by making your top of your vase. Think about that curved line coming down, making the belly of the vase down to the foot. And you want to put a little foot on the vase for it to stand up. Now I'm going to take my scissors and cut on that pencil line, leaving my paper folded to cut out my Ming vase. With my paper folded while I'm cutting, I'm going to cut out a symmetrical Ming vase for my project. As you see here, as I finish up and I open up my paper, my Ming vase will be symmetrical. That means the same on both sides. Now I feel like my Ming vase is a little bit too thick at the top, so I'm going to refold it and trim it up a little bit. And you can do this also if you don't like the way yours turned out. So I will make mine a little bit skinnier at the top, taking off a little bit there, and maybe a touch on the belly. Now that's a little bit better. It's a little bit skinnier. I like that. Got me a nice Ming vase. Now it's time to think about the designs for the Ming vase. To start off with, I'm going to divide the top of the neck of the vase into sections using horizontal lines. So I'm going to draw a few horizontal lines here. Got me 3 sections. I'm going to draw a line down at the foot of my vase to separate from the body. And that's where most of my flowers are going to go, is in the middle. Now I'm going to think about line designs I can use to create patterns and designs for my Ming vase. So I've got some vertical lines here I'm going to use as a checkerboard. Maybe I'll do a half circle jump. Maybe I'll do a wavy line in the middle there. And maybe I'll do another looped line or jumping line there. Maybe add some circles to my design. And then I'm going to come to the belly of my body, of my vase, and I'm going to start by drawing a flower in the center. Start with the center part of the flower. Draw the top petal. Draw the petal straight across from that one. Then move to the sides and draw a petal on each side there. Then go back in between and draw the next petal. And you will have a really simple flower. Because remember, Ming vases had simple designs, not complicated. Now I'm going to draw some smaller flowers around the outside edge of my Ming vase. Again, center, petals, and connect. Now that my drawing's finished, I'm going to start to think about my coloring. I'm only going to use blue color, so I can either use markers or crayons. And if your crayon box, you might have several shades of blues and tints of blues you can use. Markers, you might just have one, but that's okay. I'm going to choose markers because I want to have a nice bold blue color. So with my marker, I'm going to use the big one. And I'm going to make sure I use just the point of the marker, and I can get a nice, straight, thin line from my paper. So you see how I'm keeping that marker straight up and down, tracing over my pencil lines carefully. Now, if you actually make a mistake and miss a line, it's okay. We're gonna go back in a few minutes and erase any pencil marks that we still see. So I'm gonna continue tracing my lines on my vase carefully, neatly, using my marker to my best of my ability. I'm going to add in a few other designs and go back in and color in some of my shapes, my circles, and maybe even doing a checkerboard coloring at the top of my vase. So I'm going to skip every other rectangle there to make a nice checkerboard at the top of my main vase. Now it's time for my flower. And now this is where you can have a little bit of creativity on your own, and you can color your flower in as much as you like or as little as you like. And I apologize, mine is not in the middle of the camera there so you can see, but it'll soon be there in a second if you'll give it a few minutes. So I'm tracing my pencil lines first. Then I'll go back in and start to color the areas that I want to be filled in with my blue marker. And you'll start doing that also with your smaller flowers around your paper. Just trace your pencil lines first, and then go back in and color in the areas you would like to color in for your flower. Now I'm going to trace around the outside edge of my Ming vase. To do that, I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper, use my marker, and trace just the edge of my paper. You want to be on there just a little bit so you get a little blue line along the outside edge. That's just going to clean it up a little bit and make it look a little bit nicer on your work. See, I'm having a hard time there keeping that marker on that paper, but I'm getting there. We'll go all the way around the Ming vase. And make sure you get the top of your Ming vase also. Now I'm going to start using my eraser and erase any pencil lines I still see that I've missed with my marker. Just clean up my work a little bit, make it a little bit nicer and a little bit neater. So you can do that. Brush off the excess. Just make your work look all neat and tidy. Once I've got my work cleaned up, it's time for me to glue. Now I've chosen a yellow background, and I'm going to glue it to my yellow background. Oh, it's a little hard to pick. Oh, there we go. Look, those glue caps stick a little bit tight. So now I'm going to go along the outside edge of my Ming vase. If I glue it along the outside edge, the middle will stick also. So I don't have to put that much glue. I'm going to make sure it's at the bottom of my paper and in the middle of my paper. Give a good press, turn it over, and give a good massage to the back of my paper to make sure my Ming vase is sticking to the front side. So you want to give a good rub on there, make sure it's stuck, and turn it back over. Now I'm gonna think about adding some cherry blossom branches to the top. And I'm using a black crayon, and I'm going to draw some sort of crooked, broken lines to make like a tree branch. So I'm gonna bring some long ones and some short ones, make them go towards the top, out to the side. I want to go back and make sure my tree branches are thicker at the bottom, in the side of the vase. Bring down some down to the side, make some smaller branches. And you want to add in just a few branches towards the top of your paper, like your cherry blossom trees have been placed inside the vase. See, I'm just about finished there. Adding a few more lines, making my cherry tree blossoms look nice. Now, boys and girls, you will get some pink paint and a Q-tip. This is going to be used to make dots for your flowers, for your cherry blossoms. So I'm going to dot, dot, dot into the paint, and then dot, dot, dot onto my paper. I'm using about 3 dots to make a little cherry blossom bunch on my branches. Make sure your cherry blossoms are on the black line. That's so they're actually attached to the branch and not floating on your paper. So I'm going to do that quickly along my paper, adding my cherry blossoms on to the branches. As you can see here, doing a sort of a nice, neat job. Make sure you don't tap into the paint too much and you're not scooping the paint. Whoops, I got my finger there. That's okay. We can wash hands if we need to. So I'm going to continue doing that until I get all of my branches covered. When I finish my cherry blossoms, look at your work, check it out, make sure everything is stuck down, no pencil lines are showing, take off any spots that might be in the way or doesn't look correct. Make sure your work is all beautiful. And at the bottom, you want to do the most important thing, which is to write your name and your teacher code for whoever's class you're in. Write there first the letter and your grade. And you're all complete and have a beautiful picture.